why this is so strugglesome. And there's people in the back yelling. They're having fun, but they're yelling, and I don't want them to be yelling right now. So shh. I know this goes down lower. I guess I can stand. This actually looks kind of cool. Let me just drink this. Real quick. Okay. Hello, welcome back to my channel. It is Kelsey. I don't know, I just did some peace signs, but hey. Today's video is going to be about spending intentional time alone with yourself. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelsey, and I'm so happy to have you guys here today. We are going to be talking about spending intentional time alone. As you can see, I'm spending some time alone right now in this random pavilion. I actually think it's a really cool pavilion. You guys still hear me back there? Okay, I hear you. I have some back there. Never mind. This is pretty cool though. I'm currently spending intentional time alone. I'm doing a video, but it's something I like doing, which is a way that you can spend intentional time alone. If you want to find out other ways you can spend intentional time alone, please keep watching. We're going to be talking about it this entire video. Spending intentional time alone can sound very scary to a lot of us. We try to fill up our day with things so we don't really have to spend time alone, such as seeing friends, being workaholics, things that maybe don't 100% benefit us. The fact that we struggle with being alone at times is very understandable because we always have the comfort of the things around us, like I mentioned, work or friends. Whether you identify as an introverted person or an extroverted person, I think that we all struggle the same with spending intentional time alone. Do you really sit down and analyze what it is that you are doing with your time? It may be in an introvert's nature to be alone more than an extrovert. The question still remains the same. Do you make free time for yourself? If so, what do you do in your free time and how does that make you feel? I really feel like the answers to these questions are ever changing. They are very important as well, so I feel like we all needed to spend that intentional time alone to get the answers to these questions. I personally feel like I'm still trying to figure out the answers to those questions myself. It is a journey in order to find those answers. I'm constantly trying to find new ways to spend my time so it helps me grow, it helps me learn more about myself and other people. The way I spend my time alone now versus even 3 months ago is drastically different. I used to lay in my bed all day due to my depression, and most days I couldn't even get up to shower or eat. I found that I was very physically and mentally drained, and that was a combination of several different things, and it was never just one reason. You know, I think that if there was one reason for things like depression, we might not have depression. All I could tell you is that I really needed to make changes, and the first thing I could think of was slowly cutting people out of my life that weren't serving me any sort of purpose anymore, or if I wasn't serving them purpose. So if it wasn't my depression, it was my anxiety or panic disorders that were keeping me up at night. And I really just think that I got to a certain point where I really wanted to sit down, sort through my issues, figure out the things that were really bothering me. And that, on top of therapy, was really what led me into spending more intentional time alone. My depression, anxiety, and my panic disorders still really drive my life for me in a way. I now have different coping skills to manage those things. And this isn't by some miracle. It was by figuring out more about myself than I knew before. And I always knew I had some issues. Spending intentional time alone has really helped me face all the things that I've been running from for years, and there's still a lot that I need to sort through. I will just continue to spend this intentional time alone. It's helped me reconnect with things that I love as well, such as dance and music. So when I started giving this love and attention that I was giving to every single other person in my life to myself, my life really started to change for the better. I just kept going through these cycles of just giving, and getting very drained and not really getting much in return. Not saying I didn't have some good friends along the way. I'm just a very excessively giving person. I just started to excessively give to myself. I don't really ever tell myself no. I do try to stay disciplined, but in a healthy way, and I do try to do all these things to benefit myself now, because for so long I felt very selfish about it. So it wasn't something that's happened overnight, and it's still something that I'm working on. It is a process, so I don't want to glorify this whole thing saying that spending intentional time alone is this most amazing, easy process, it's really not. You know, there are a lot of dark times in that process. When you get to choose how you spend your time, it feels better. So the initial start for me was therapy, and then after that I started to take it upon myself to do little things every day, whether it was 5-10 minutes, even 30 minutes, depending on what the task was. I just started to integrate these little things to then become part of my daily habits and behaviors. And I'm still, like I said, working on these things, but now I can do them with more ease, and I don't really think about doing them anymore. I started out by journaling a little bit here and there. The journaling for me at first was me journaling on my bad days, and I wasn't really taking into consideration that I should be keeping track of my good days and writing down and celebrating things that mattered to me, and really going deeper than just the day-to-day. So once I started going past that point is when I really found journaling to be extremely beneficial. To accompany the journaling, I also started stretching again, took up meditation, I started reading about Buddhism and spirituality a little bit. I just started to find new things that interest me. And the last thing I have for you is being out in nature. Currently I'm out in nature right now. I'm feeling great. It's natural light. You get a little bit of vitamin D. It's always fun to be outside, and you don't even really have to like go hiking or anything like that if you're not a big nature person. I think just going to like Wegmans or your local grocery store, grabbing your favorite snacks, your favorite lunch, and just going out and having a picnic by yourself is super relaxing. I feel like you don't have to be alone to spend intentional time alone, which is it sounds like a contradiction, but I feel like if you're with people that are all kind of doing that, like people go away to retreats for like silent retreats, or they go to meditative retreats, or just I don't know, something along those lines. Everyone's kind of doing that. They're all spending intentional time alone, but you're with people and you're in good company and energy. So I feel like those kinds of things would also be really nice. I've never done something like that. I did look into it. I've also been really interested in trying ayahuasca. That sounds pretty cool to me. So I started doing all these things a little bit more when I had downtime, instead of going out and partying and doing all these things that really weren't great habits. The old me would fill up all of this free time that I have now with excessive working, friends. I would stay at friends' houses for 2 to 3 nights in a row. I would also go out 3 to 4 times a week and party. When I went out to party, it would also be from anywhere from 8 or 9 p.m. all the way until 3 or 4 in the morning. Sometimes I would get home at 7. So I'm spending so much time, almost as much time as a part-time job, partying and doing all these things that are not doing anything for me or anyone else. Honestly, it was creating way more issues than I wanted in my life, whether it was me or somebody else. I really needed to take that into consideration. Something I journaled about, to be honest, because I needed to process why the fuck I was going out all the time. I was abusing alcohol and still find myself struggling with that as well. Another thing that we can talk about another time. Basically, I was doing any and everything that I could to avoid myself and the issues that I know I had and still have. These issues never really go away. I think you just start to recognize them and accept them as a part of who you are, instead of trying to suppress them and make it seem like everything's all peachy, because it's not always like that. So I've always kind of been a loner, or someone who doesn't really mind being alone. I would say I'm pretty introverted. I definitely lean more towards being an introvert. I really cherish my time alone. I've always really enjoyed being alone, practicing and doing things that I enjoy. I just really enjoy expressing myself. I'm a really creative person. So even though I'm no stranger to spending so much time alone, it was still a very foreign feeling to choose journaling or working on my editing for YouTube, or something that was going to help my personal growth, versus going out on a Friday or Saturday night. As I mentioned, it was almost like I was going out as much as I would have been working a part-time job. So instead of doing all the partying that I was doing, I decided to take all the time that I had to party and put it into something else. So I decided to take those hours and repurpose them into myself in a different way. So now most Fridays and Saturday nights you can catch me in my room working on something important to me, or even just recharging and getting high, you know what I'm saying? A really important thing that I need to mention is that we don't mix up isolation and spending intentional time alone. One derives from the lack of interest of being around others and a few other reasons, and isn't beneficial to any of us. Isolation is a symptom of loneliness and actually can have a lot of health risks to it. You can also feel isolated when you surround yourself with the wrong things. We were kind of talking about surrounding yourself with the wrong job, friends, even your family. It doesn't matter if they're your family. If they're toxic, they're toxic. If you're surrounding yourself with the wrong things, you can still feel lonely. If you have tons of things around you, you could buy all the things in the world and you can still be the loneliest person in the world. It's not about what's outside, it's about what's inside. So if you don't fix all the shit going on in here and everywhere else here, it doesn't matter who you know, where you are, what you're doing. You have to make sure that you're okay. So spending that intentional time alone can help you find inner peace, whereas being around the wrong people, places, or things can have you feeling very isolated. So that's where the difference is, and we have to really try not to mix those up because they are not one and the same. So intentional time alone can have us finding our truest form of self. That can also come with a lot of facing things that we might not have faced before all of that intentional time alone. Past issues, insecurities. Especially when you start journaling, you will find that you have to kind of sort through all those things. You don't leave yourself alone for long. We can all kind of suppress things here and there. You can only run away from something for so long. And we can also refocus what it is that we are looking for out of life. You can set up goals, you can look at the dreams that you have, even that dream that you had when you were like 14 years old. You can make that come true. You just have to spend that intentional time alone doing things that serve a purpose. We are able to focus on what we control and let go of what we cannot. So if you missed all the ways that you can spend intentional time alone, I'm just gonna mention them again, just in case. Journaling, meditation, where you can spend some time in nature, dance freely to whatever music you'd like to listen to, or exploring new hobbies can all be great ways to explore your truest form of self. We've been conditioned to believe that solitude is the enemy, that within solitude is where loneliness, depression, and discomfort lies. Discomfort kind of sneaks its way in, but I feel like that's not the overview of solitude. And we can feel the symptoms of being lonely, even if we're surrounded by tons of people. So with that being said, it is imperative for our mental health and personal growth that we figure out how to spend intentional time alone. I've mentioned some ways that you can spend your intentional time alone. Well, let's discuss the benefits. What are the benefits? Tell us, Kelsey. What are they? Tell us what they are. We want to hear them. Do you? Alright, let's talk about it. Solitude and intentional time alone can help us find our inner voice. Spending intentional time alone in solitude can help us find our inner voice. Since we're constantly surrounded by opinions of others, whether it's on social media or in our daily lives, it is so important to sit down and sort through what our opinions are, what our morals are, our beliefs, our own set ways of life. Solitude can be used as a tool in order to sort through all of those opinions. Solitude can empower us to be who we are comfortably. It can also build confidence and character, which is super important. It can also be a really great creativity booster. So if you're not very confident or creative as a person, try spending some time alone. You know what I'm saying? Overall, it really helps if you spend that time alone. Figure out what it is that you like to do. Give yourself an hour or two a day. Like if you choose to spend time by yourself instead of going and hanging out with friends, your friends make a big fuss about it. Sure, maybe it's because they care, but if they start to grill you or they're like just being assholes, please consider getting rid of those friends.
Bye, I'm gonna spend time alone and you're not gonna ruin my vibe. And I'm not gonna ruin yours either because I'm not out here to do that.
And the biggest thing of all with the whole solitude thing, it has a major effect on your mental health, which is I think a big reason why I've seen such improvement within myself within the past 6 months because I've spent so much time by myself. It wasn't like it was during the pandemic when I was just doing whatever the fuck I wanted every day, binge eating or binge watching Netflix or whatever it was. Like I was literally doing whatever and it had no purpose for the most part. Now when I do spend time alone, it's not always like this. It's not every single time I'm by myself. It's intentional time alone. I'm journaling, editing. I'm not always doing something. 60 to 70% of my alone time is spent intentionally, and the other time I'm either dicking around, hanging out with friends, or whatever, you know, like it doesn't always need to be that way. But I highly suggest that you try to find things that you really enjoy. It makes life better at the end of the day. It makes you happy. When you're happy, everyone else for the most part around you is pretty happy. You get what you give, which is a big lesson I'm learning, that the energy I give out is what I'm gonna get back. That doesn't mean you deserve every single thing that you get, I guess. We can give ourselves all the excuses in the world to not do something. At the end of the day, it is our choice whether we make the moves to do certain things in life. There's always gonna be things that get in the way, that are not fair, that really fucking put us on our asses. But at the end of the day, if you try, that is all that anyone can ask for. I really hope that you guys took something away from today's video. I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Bye! Mwah. Hello, welcome back. I wonder what's going on in here. Because I never know. I'm done trying. Fuck it. Doing whatever willy-nilly. Who says willy-nilly? Who says willy-nilly? I see the weirdest shit. Oh. I'm done. No, I'm not. I'm not done trying. Jesus Christmas Christ. Intentional time alone can help us find our true Can you talk? Can you give it back? Can you talk all the time? We have been I don't like the little... I'm irritated. I'm not fucking